Hello, my name is Kim, and in this timeless reading, we will be connecting with the energy of your ancestors to receive messages, insight, and guidance from them. Now, because this is a timeless reading, there are no exact set dates or time frames to these messages. At whatever moment in time you happen to be watching the video, listening to the reading, the messages may apply to you. That is, of course, if they are resonating. And this reading will consist of 5 parts. In part 1, I will be sharing with you what I intuitively picked up on when connecting with the energy of your chosen group. In part 2, I will be drawing out one oracle card to get kind of a gist of what it is that your ancestors want for you to know at this moment or to become aware of. And in part 2, I will be drawing out 3 tarot cards. Now, in this portion of the reading, these 3 tarot cards may signify your past, present, and future. So one card for your past, one card for your present, and one card for your future. Or the 3 cards could be indicating different stages of a specific situation. So it could very well be showing you the development of something that maybe you're currently going through. It will then be up to you to discern what stage you're currently in based on which state you currently resonate with the most. Or if you'd like, the 3 cards could simply be giving you an overview of one of the lessons that you are currently or soon will be learning in this lifetime. It will very much depend how you want to look at it, which format or interpretation works the best for you at this moment. I will leave it up to you to decide. And for part 4, I will be pulling out an extra oracle card and reading from the oracle cards guidebook to get any last messages, advice, and or guidance from your ancestors. And lastly, for part 5, there will be an opportunity for you to ask up to 2 yes or no questions and receive a direct answer from your ancestors through the assistance of a pendulum. And now let us take a closer look at the options. Representing group 1 is the Octopus. Representing group 2 is the Flamingo. Representing group 3 is the Fox. Please take a moment to cast your gaze upon the options, meditate on them, and whichever you are drawn to the most, then that will be the group or the reading for you. And if you do feel called to listen to more than one reading, then please don't hesitate to do so. And once you have selected your group, please head on over to either the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section down below, where the timestamp that will allow for you to skip ahead to your reading are provided. And if you are ready, then let us get started. Let's go. Hello group 1, bienvenidos to your reading. So when connecting with the energy of this group, the words rise and release came to mind. And my attention was also drawn to the breath. And that made me think of breath work, breathing exercises, pranayama. So your ancestors could have had a practice or several practices or rituals that centered around the breath. Or breath work was very crucial, important to their spiritual beliefs, spiritual practices. But I also do get the feeling that at this moment, you are releasing energy blockages, pent-up frustration, anger, or you could be or will be releasing trauma stored in the body. And for a lot of you, breath work will be one of the ways or techniques that will help with the releasing. It is through the breath that you will be able to release and or to heal. Also, something about drums, drum beats, or anything that is rhythmic, that has a beat to it, could help as well to maybe get you in a trance or to help with the breathing exercises perhaps. I also know that breath work helps to regulate the nervous system or could assist with that. So if you feel like at this moment you have a dysregulated nervous system, you are on high alert most of the time, or you are in survival mode, again, please do consider looking into breath work, breathing exercises, or being a little bit more mindful of your breathing. For a lot of people, retaining the breath can result in feelings of anxiousness. And for others, retaining the breath can help with soothing those anxious feelings or soothing, regulating their nervous system. So pay attention to what works best for you. Slow breathing or fast breathing or pauses in between the inhale and the exhale and so forth. Yeah, and if at this moment currently while watching this video or listening to me talk, you notice that you have been holding your breath, maybe consider to take a moment and breathe in deeply and then slowly exhale. See how you feel afterwards. Because I just did that. I noticed I was holding my breath and then I took a deep breath and exhaled slowly and I felt a lot better. I was feeling a bit tense and then I felt slightly more relaxed. Okay, but let us see. The expression or the phrase breath of life just came to mind. Maybe that is of significance or of importance. Okay, let me try one more time. Okay, so this card flipped over. We have the Octopus. Beautiful energy with reveal and the message spending nearly every moment in confinement. Octopus demonstrates the impressive impact of revelation. He is often found curled up in his cave, plagued by self-preservation and frozen by fear. When necessity requires trips outside, he travels in trepidation. Arriving in a moment of uncertainty, Octopus explodes with intensity. In his example, we are reminded that revealing oneself requires bravery. In exposure, we are defenseless. We must lend ourselves grace when we are vulnerable. So I find this quite interesting because the word rise did come through when meditating on this group's energy. And with reveal, I feel like you are being called to come out of the shadows, come out of hiding is how it's coming through. Maybe this is something like stepping out of your comfort zone, coming out of your shell, or this could be sort of a heads up to you that very soon you will be given the opportunity or possibly placed in a position where you will be seen by many, where you will be, let's say, in the spotlight, or you will need to come out of your comfort zone, come out of your shell. And for a lot of you, it could be the case that currently there might be something that you want to pursue or that you want to do, but whatever this might be, it does require for you to be in the spotlight, for you to maybe reveal yourself in certain ways, maybe reveal certain aspects of yourself, like perhaps certain skills that you have kept hidden, like hidden talents. The word exposure is coming to mind, so maybe this field or this pursuit does require of exposure, like exposing yourself, putting yourself out there. It's making me think like of social media or publicity as well. What just came to mind was a writer, an author who is publishing their first novel, their first book, and to promote their novel, their book, they are required to do some kind of publicity where they have to reveal their face, or they have to talk with an audience, or they have to talk a little bit more about the inspiration behind the novel, their work, and so forth. That was just an example. It doesn't have to be your specific situation, but I do feel like very soon you will have to do that which maybe at this moment you find a little uncomfortable or you shy away from, is how it's coming through. Yeah, this feels more like a heads up. Like, oh, hey, just so you know, very soon there are going to be eyes on you, or you will be given the spotlight, or you will need to be out in the open in some way or the other. Or this could be that in general, it's time for you to step out. That's how it's coming through. Like maybe step out of your comfort zone or do something different or expand. Maybe level something up, go farther, reach a little farther. Yeah, with Octopus, it could be that you have outgrown your current situation, your current environment, or something that you've been working on has outgrown its current state. It's making me think of a plant in a pot that has now become root bound because the pot is too small for it. And so the roots have nowhere else to go. There's no more room for it to continue growing. And if the plant isn't repotted into a bigger pot or tended to, then it will most likely wither. So if you feel like something in your life has become stagnant, or like it's not giving much, it's not giving more, or if you feel like something that you are a part of or something that you have been working on, it's starting to kind of die out or fade out, it's very possible that it is because it's time to take it to the next phase. That's how it's coming through. I feel like in the phase that it is right now, it has already reached its fullest potential. And so it's time to expand it. It's time to maybe integrate new things to it, or maybe consider removing certain aspects of it, make adjustments. Maybe this is the time to revamp or rebrand, give it a little bit of a makeover, or do some upkeep in regards to it. It seems like something is needing a little love, care, and attention. So with reveal, this could also be indicating that very soon it is going to be revealed to you what needs to change in order to see progress or improvement, betterment, or forward movement. And actually with reveal, I feel that for a lot of you, it already has been revealed to you what needs to change, what needs to be improved upon. And with the octopus, having 8 tentacles, I feel like it's in more than one area of life or in more than one thing that it has been shown to you, revealed to you, or let known to you that change is needed. But maybe as of now, you have yet to take action to create these changes or make adjustments. And if it is the case that things have been going a little bit slow, or they have been feeling a little bit stagnant, then that is why, because you have yet to take action to make the changes that are needed or are necessary in order to see the forward movement that you have been wanting to see or have been needing, or a situation has been needing. For others of you, it could be that you're taking it one step at a time, like addressing one issue at a time. And so I feel like as you handle one situation, address it, more clarity will come to you as to what is working out, what isn't, what needs to be let go of, what needs to be added or integrated or adjusted, and so forth. The octopus, I believe, is one of the most intelligent animals that we know of on this planet. And so I feel you're also being called to use or make use of your creativity, your ingenuity, maybe of your critical thinking skills or your solving skills. With the octopus, I feel like a lot of you are being called to possibly, in a way, think outside of the box, to take a sideways approach, to, again, get out of your comfort zone. Do something different. That's the overall message. Because I feel that will help with you feeling re-inspired, or with you stepping into a new chapter, or more like a new energy. The message that just came to mind is, do not be afraid to be different. And a quote from the movie Practical Magic just came to mind, which was, "My darling girl, when are you going to realize that being normal is not necessarily a virtue? It rather denotes a lack of courage." Yeah, so I feel like your ancestors are letting you know, I don't know, this is how it came through. Honey, this is the time to strut your stuff. This is the time to be utterly yourself, because it is in your uniqueness, or through your uniqueness, that you will shine. So let your freak flag fly. Is that an expression? Yeah, but I feel like what is meant by that is, if there has been certain things about yourself, like maybe quirks, characteristics, traits, likes, interests, that you have been hiding or keeping on the down low because you thought them to be strange, or at some point someone told you that they were weird and strange, this is the time to let them be seen, to reveal them, to expose them, because it could be that we are entering into an era, or maybe we are already in the era, where what you thought was weird or strange is now being embraced by others, or this is the time in which others who share your similar interest, who share the same things that you're going through or maybe that you struggle with on a day-to-day basis, are also coming out, are also talking about it, maybe creating communities in which they can talk freely and proudly about what they are interested in, what they like. So this is the time in which you very well could be finding your community if you also choose to come out, share what you like, share more about yourself, or you coming out could help others to also find the courage, the bravery to come out themselves. I don't know why that expression keeps coming up, come out, coming out. So that could be an expression that you use or that maybe holds a personal meaning or significant meaning for you. But I guess the underlying message here is, do not be afraid to be seen. This is not the time to shy away from being seen and from being you. Some of you could be in a field or a line of work where there is a lot of competition, or maybe in an industry that is quite saturated, like there's a lot of people who are doing the same thing, or there is a lot of the same thing. And if that is the case, I feel like you're being advised to, especially if you're struggling in this field, to be seen, to be recognized, to stand out. You are being advised to not focus so much on what others are doing, what is trending, what is popular, because I feel like focusing too much on what is going on influences the way that you approach your work or the way that you create. And that could result in you ending with something that is very similar to that of others, that is common, I want to say, which results in it not standing out or not being true to you. And so you are being advised to, for a couple of days, weeks, or even a month or more, not pay so much attention to what others are doing, what is trending, what is popular, how others are going about their work, and simply focus on you. It's making me think of a writer who takes some me time, some alone time, and goes somewhere far away, far from the city perhaps. They kind of disconnect from others for a while in order to focus on their work, allow for the creative juices to start flowing. And that's kind of the feeling I get here, like going through a bit of a detox where you're not maybe consuming others' work. Maybe if you are consuming art or information to help inspire you, let it be things that are outside of your field of work. That way you won't be influenced by what others are doing in your field, and you can come up with something that is original to you and more in alignment with you, something that is more of you rather than a result of being influenced by what others are doing in your field of work or the industry that you are in. Yeah, so give your mind especially some reprieve from observing, analyzing what others are doing. Because I feel like that tends to cloud your mind, or it blocks your creativity. And with the octopus, this could even result in overstimulation, where it then makes it more difficult for you to think or come up with ideas or to focus, because your mind has been overstimulated by all the information that you're taking in or consuming. Okay, but we have the Seven of Arrows with insecurity. So this is the Seven of Swords. Oh, we have the Seven of Stones. This is the Seven of Pentacles with healing. So double seven. Let me try one more time. Those are too many cards. So the number 7 could be of significance. You could be, ooh, beautiful. We have the Temperance card with balance. So the number 7 may be of significance. It could be maybe your lucky number, like the lucky 7. It could be your life path number, the day you were born on the 7th of a month, or maybe you were born on the month of July, which is the 7th month of the year. It could also be that recently you have been seeing the number 7 quite frequently, or the number 77, or repeated 7s, or very soon you will be. And how it's coming through is that when you do start seeing the number 7 quite often, or repeated 7s, that could be a hint to you that it is time to step out of your comfort zone, or that you are stepping into something new, or you are being called to try something new. But as mentioned, the number 7 is known as a lucky number, a number of fortune and abundance. So with the Temperance card, I feel like you are entering into a time or an era of harmony, of balance and peace, as well as abundance. And I am sensing for a lot of you financial abundance, but this abundance may be pertaining to something else entirely. It will very much depend on what abundance means to you in specific. But with balance, I am seeing inner union, inner harmony, where your inner masculine and feminine energies are coming together. And the feminine is the energy of imagining, of envisioning, of being open and receptive. And masculine is about action. It's about bringing forth the creations, making that which the feminine dreams and imagines tangible, real, let's say. So the feminine receives and the masculine puts forth. So this lets me know that you are entering into your creator era, where you are not only daydreaming, imagining, and envisioning, but you're also taking the necessary action to bring these creations, these imaginings to life. And this is also making me think of co-creating with the universe. So I see you being in a natural state where you are allowing for things to flow, where you are mostly taking inspired action. You're not forcing for things. You are not pursuing anything that is out of alignment with that of your highest good or doesn't resonate with you at all. So you're entering into an era where you're not chasing. Instead, you are, I wouldn't even say you're attracting, because with balance, it feels like with every step that you take, or in every step that you take, you are in alignment. You are where you need to be. You already have what you need in order to thrive, in order to excel and survive, is also how it's coming through. So there's this feeling of being at the right place at the right time in every moment, every situation. And the only reason why that is happening is because you are staying true to you. The expression or the message that came to mind was, there is no falsehood. What that indicates to me is that you're not lying to yourself. You are not deceiving yourself by making yourself believe that certain things that aren't for you or aren't of your highest good are meant for you. What I'm seeing with the balance card is that by this stage, by this point, you are having no trouble letting go. And it's interesting because, the octopus having tentacles, it makes me think of stickiness, really holding on to something, latching on. And so it feels like, especially with the 7 of arrows, the 7 of swords, in the past, you did have trouble letting go, or maybe that's something that currently you're struggling with. And the 7 of arrows does speak about deceit and getting away with things, like sneaking around in the night. And it is also making me think of desperation, like pleading and begging and chasing. And so if there are certain things in your life currently that you feel like you need to hold on to them because the thought of releasing them creates anxiousness or makes you feel like, if I release this now, I'm going to lose. I'm going to be without. I'm going to miss out on a perfect opportunity. Or it makes you feel like you will never be able to obtain that which you desire or want. Take a moment to really consider what is going on here, because we do have this energy of insecurity. And so it is most likely that what you're holding on to, or maybe the way that you're holding on to this, the way that you're approaching it, the way that you're perceiving it, is not in actuality of your highest good, or is only inducing feelings of insecurity, or it is your insecurity that is making you hold on to this. It is possibly past wounds, hurts that you have yet to address and heal that are having you believe that you need this, when in reality you don't. And it's so interesting because we actually have the green woman showing up twice in your spread, in both of these cards. But in the 7 of arrows, the green woman is in despair. She is portraying herself as a victim, which is quite interesting because the green woman is life itself. The green woman represents feminine energy. She represents Mother Nature, life. And so in actuality, these arrows here that seem to be hurting her cannot hurt her. They can only hurt her if the green woman believes they have the power to do so. And so at this moment, it seems like you're giving your power away to something external from you. There's something that you're holding on to, that you're making yourself believe that this is the very thing that gives you power or worth, when in actuality, that isn't true. And in the Seven of Stones, the Seven of Pentacles, we have the green woman healing another and no longer being, in a way, entrapped or stuck. So I feel like you will be addressing that which makes you believe that you need to remain in situations that are unhealthy or hold on to that which is not choosing you. You are addressing insecurities, you are addressing fears, you are addressing hurts, pains, wounds, emotional wounds, maybe even trauma that keeps you believing that you are stuck or that you are powerless or that you are a victim to a situation that in actuality you do have some say or power in. So the Seven of Stones makes me think of someone who is taking matters into their own hands, or who is stepping down from a victim mentality perhaps, choosing to heal themselves, choosing to address that which at some point they only thought they could suffer from but do nothing about. And with healing, a lot of you could be stepping into a healing journey, or maybe you currently are on a healing journey. This could be mental, emotional, spiritual, but a lot of you could also be physically healing from an ailment, from an illness. So this does make me think of recovery or betterment. So just know that if you take the steps towards recovery and healing, you will be seeing betterment, improvement, and progress. Because the Seven of Stones does indicate reaping the rewards of hard work and dedication. It's also making me think of stepping stones. And so you're building your way up. You're building your way towards stability, towards harmony, towards inner peace, inner balance. And with the Seven of Arrows, in the past, there could have been a lot of emotional reactivity on your part, where emotions got the best of you. You acted out of your emotions most of the time. And this could have led to you feeling powerless, like things were happening to you instead of for you, like you didn't have a say in how you felt, or this could have resulted in you feeling emotionally overwhelmed. The Seven of Arrows also makes me think of overthinking or being affected by intrusive thoughts, feeling like one had no control over their mind. And with the Seven of Stones, I feel like there's less chaos. And so what your ancestors are hinting at, or what they want to bring to your attention, is that in most of the things that you feel powerless in, you actually have the power to make positive changes. And there's something here about focusing on the wrong thing, because how it's coming through is that which you want to control, or that which you do your best to control, are usually the things that you have to release control of, like the things that are actually out of your control. And that which you release complete control of, feel like you absolutely have no control over it, and therefore release control of it. Those are the things that you actually can control. So it's making me think of intrusive thoughts. Possibly we cannot control the thoughts that come to our mind. Our mind will just spur images and ideas, but we can control whether we focus on those thoughts that our mind conjures or not. Or we can control what thoughts we choose to focus on, what thoughts we choose to believe. And so, to keep going with this example, someone who is feeling powerless could be spending most of their time trying to control their mind by trying to stop intrusive thoughts, instead of giving all of their attention and energy to redirect their focus, to become more disciplined when it comes to their focus, to what they give their attention to. And what is happening with the Seven of Stones is that now, or by this point, you will be directing your focus, your attention on that which you are meant to, on that which you can bring positive changes about. And that is what is going to lead to harmony and balance. That is what is going to result in you feeling more in alignment with yourself, or more, I'm not sure if this is the best way to express it, but how it's coming through is in control of yourself, or in management of yourself. And the Seven of Stones is making me think of practice, routine, structure, discipline, consistency. So for a lot of you, it could very well be that coming up with a practice, a routine that works for you is going to be quite helpful in your healing journey, or in you finding structure or stability in your life. Regaining self-control is how it's coming through. Or just having better discernment as to what is in your control and what is out of your control, so that then you know where to direct your focus, your attention, and your energy. And the green woman being a feminine energy, it could be that for a while your feminine energy was going through the ringer. Maybe you felt disconnected from your feminine energy, or it was your feminine energy that was suffering, that felt powerless. And so it is in reconnecting with your feminine energy, empowering your feminine energy, feeling empowered by your feminine energy, that you are going to regain a sense of stability and inner harmony. And with healing, a lot of you could actually be healers, or you could be interested in becoming healers, or you are being called, drawn to that path, the path of a healer. And this could be like an energy healer, but it could also be something like becoming a doctor, a nurse, a therapist. It's also making me think of a masseur, a masseuse, an acupuncturist. Any field, any occupation, profession that is centered around aiding, helping, assisting others on their healing journey. So it could be physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual healing. You are reclaiming your power and your sovereignty is how it's coming through. And with the energy of reveal, it's very likely that a lot of you already have been on this healing journey. You have been doing the work, the inner work. And so your ancestors are giving you a heads up that very soon the results of your hard work and effort will be revealed to you, or they are starting to be revealed to you little by little. It will be in the way that you feel, in the way that you feel towards yourself, in the way that you approach situations, especially situations that, how it came through was call for conflict, but it could be situations in which maybe in the past, if you had been presented with these so-called situations, you would have felt overwhelmed or at a loss of control, or you wouldn't have known what to do, or you would have been overrun by anxious feelings. There's something here about like analysis paralysis, not know what to do, feel stuck, feel stagnant. And now, when you are faced with these situations, rather than reacting to them, you're responding to them quite differently, with a lot more level-headedness, with a lot more reason, maturity, and empowerment. Like, I don't have to let my emotions get the best of me and make decisions for me, when I can allow myself to acknowledge what I am feeling about this situation, or how I am feeling about this situation, and then also analyze the situation itself to make a conscious decision, one that feels in alignment with me, one that makes sense to me in this current moment, based on the information I have been given, based on what I am intuitively picking up on and or sensing, based on what I am being guided or called to do. Because the balance card makes me think of being connected with all that is. It makes me think of being mindful, being self-aware, aware of your environment, aware of others, aware of your situation, aware of your physical body, aware of what's going on within, being present, being open-minded, having reason, as well as being in tune, knowing how to interpret your intuitive feelings and nudges. So when you're in this energy, it's very difficult to be influenced by anything that is outside of you, because you're very in tuned with yourself, with your inner knowing. So it's very difficult to pressure you to do something that doesn't feel right to you, or to be swept away by the moment, because you're very much like this tree. You're deeply rooted. You're grounded. You see through what is going on the surface. So if someone comes in kind of pressuring you into something, you see what is going on because you're so in the moment. You see that someone is in actuality pressuring you, or someone is trying to persuade you to do something in specific, or someone isn't being all that truthful. They're hiding information. If someone tells you, you need to make a decision now because we're running out of time, you're so grounded and so present that you can feel and sense that, no, there is enough time. You are rushing me, but in actuality, there is enough time to take a moment and think things through, process what is going on. Or if in the past you were very susceptible to the energy around you, especially the emotions, the feelings of others. So for example, if you were in a space with someone who was feeling anxious, you could have picked up on that anxiousness that they were feeling and felt it as if it was your own. And so where before you weren't anxious, now you are, because you have just picked up on the anxiousness of this other person. And that could have influenced you to maybe make decisions or behave in certain ways that you yourself wouldn't have made if you hadn't picked up on the energy of somebody else. So I feel like with the balance card, you're reaching a point in which you're discerning, okay, well, what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling, it's not actually of me. This is me picking up on what's going on around my environment. And so the other thing I'm seeing here is like boundaries and protection, and not allowing yourself to be influenced by external forces, which is allowing for you to be more present and more in yourself. But being in this energy here, in this space, was the result of a lot of inner work. With balance, it could also be that a lot of you might decide to, or maybe you are thinking about dedicating more time to connecting with spirit, maybe being a channeler, a messenger, maybe delivering messages through tarot or just channeling messages for others. Some of you could be interested in mediumship. Others of you could be interested in working with the subconscious, tapping into your own subconscious, or working with others, helping others to tap into their own subconscious. What is coming to mind is like hypnotherapy. If you have been thinking about taking a hypnotherapy session, I feel like that would be very helpful. A lot could be revealed to you through you tapping into your subconscious. Because it all goes back to your subconscious, what is stored in your subconscious mind. So like programmings, beliefs, ideas, notions. But we have Spirit Keeper of the East, as well as Tracker. And I do want to read the guidebook messages associated with these cards. And I would recommend, it's up to you, but I would recommend for you to not skip this part, because I do feel like the guidebook messages could reveal a lot to you, or could provide you with maybe the answers or the guidance that you have been seeking. But we have Spirit Keeper. Okay, so I am reading from the Native Spirit Oracle Card Guidebook by, I think it's Denise Lynn. And the messages are on pages 82 and 83, just pointing it out in case the numbers are of significance. And we have card meaning, new beginnings, a fresh cycle is occurring in your life. Wipe the slate clean. It's now time to release the old and start again. No matter what has happened in the past, it doesn't need to repeat in the future. Your native spirit wants you to know. You could also consider this as your ancestors wants you to know. In Native traditions, the directions are honored. It's believed that every direction has an associated spirit that can be called upon. In the great cycle of life, the east is the place of the rising sun. It's also associated with planting seeds in the springtime, birth, the waxing moon, and new beginnings. Pulling this card means that this is the close of one cycle and the beginning of another. Although it's often difficult to release familiar routines, situations, or relationships when they no longer empower you, your native spirit asks that you not cling to the old, but set sail into new waters. Face your fear and allow yourself to stretch in a new direction. Wonderful opportunities will be born in your life. The journey. Stand and be still. Oh, so interesting. Breathe and center yourself, then slowly turn in a circle. Close your eyes and feel the energy of each direction. There's a difference in the feeling in each direction. Stand facing east as the sun rises to sense the unique energy of that direction. Ooh, this last message here gave me chills, because something I didn't share with you guys, because I thought it a bit weird to share. But when I was meditating on this group's energy, I did mention that the word rise came to mind. And when this word came to mind, I did feel called to stand up. I was sitting down when I was receiving these messages. And so I did stand. And I was told in that moment to breathe. And in the breath, release. And it's so interesting how in the guidebook message we have stand and be still, breathe and center yourself. So yeah, as mentioned previously, you are being called to release, or you are at this moment releasing a lot of that which maybe for quite some time has been preventing you from moving forward, or feeling at peace, or regaining the sense of balance and inner harmony. And you know, the sun does rise in the east. And so it seems like you are awakening to realizations. The sun in the tarot does speak about revelations, clarity, answers. So clarity will come to you, but it will come to you when you are ready to receive it. Because what I have found to be often the case with most people is that the answers do come. They come in the moment that one asks for them. Usually that is the case. But although the answers are there, they are not received by the receiver because the receiver isn't ready to receive them yet. So it's this thing where the answer is right there, right in front of you, right under your nose, but you don't see it because either you're choosing not to see it, because either you don't want to see it, or it's not the answer that you were hoping for, and so you reject it. So when you ask to be shown something, for the truth to be revealed to you, be sure that you are ready to see the truth, which means that you're not holding on to certain expectations. You're not only open to that which you want to hear, you're open to simply listen. And we have tracker. And the messages are on page 110 and 111. So the number 1 may be of significance. The number 1 indicates new beginnings. It's also the number of leadership and assertion. But we have card meaning. Focus your intent and your passion on one thing rather than being scattered in different directions. Be single-minded in what's truly important in your life and let everything else go. Track the unseen but very real stream of energy to that which you desire. Your native spirit wants you to know, or your ancestors wants you to know. Trackers have the ability to be so focused that everything but their goal disappears. What you see around you is the result of what you focus on. When you direct your thoughts toward good, you attract positive experiences and people into your life. But when you focus on what isn't working, you create even more challenging situations. If you aren't pleased with the direction of your life, concentrate on what you desire, not on what you don't want. To develop inner power, focus intently on one thing. Being scattered in a myriad of directions dilutes your strength. Devote your attention to your family, community, career, relationships, hobbies, or anything you're passionate about. Diminish activities that aren't essential to your goals, and it will be just a matter of time before miracles begin to occur. The journey. Write down how much time, on average, that you spend on different activities during the day. If there is anything non-essential that doesn't feed your soul, find ways to diminish it and focus on what's truly important. So whenever you see the number 1, the angel number 111, 110, or repeated ones, that could be a reminder to you to redirect your focus, or maybe it could be a heads up that you're starting to get distracted, that maybe you are focusing on something that isn't of your highest good. I know that a lot of people associate 111 with being on the right path, but I feel for you guys, it might be the opposite. Of course, only take what resonates, but I feel for you guys, it could be the case that when you see 111, it's actually an indicator that you're starting to move in a direction that is different from your main goal or from your current path. That's how it's coming through. It's like you're diverting. And so that could be your reminder to come back to center, or to pay attention to what you're focusing on, where you're going. Because if you do not want to divert, let's say, then it's important for you to come back to center. But, you know, if you are wanting to divert, if you are wanting to move in a different direction, then the number 111 could be a good indicator that, yes, now you are moving in a new direction. Now you are stepping onto a new path. So keep doing as you're doing because you're creating a new path. But with Octopus, you know, this does make me think of having your hands in several pots, wearing different hats, or having a split energy, dividing your attention amongst many things. And maybe that is literally splitting your energy, not allowing for you to give it your all with one thing and then being able to see it through. And so Tracker is advising for you to maybe take it one step at a time, as mentioned previously. Maybe it will help for you to focus on one thing at a time, or maybe to set goals for yourself. And when you do set goals for yourself, make sure that the goals are achievable, right? So if you have a big goal, think of breaking it down into smaller achievable goals so that it won't be so daunting for you and so that you will be able to see progress. Because oftentimes when we have a big goal and we don't break it down into small parts, it can feel like we aren't making progress because we aren't keeping track. You know, we're just focused on the end result. And usually it takes a while to get to the end result. Whereas if you break it down into parts, you can keep track of where you're going, where you're heading, how you're doing, and so forth. And that helps with, you know, feeling encouraged or just knowing if adjustments need to be made and so forth. Also, it's making me think of, you know, focus on that which is helpful to you. Why would you focus on things that make you feel powerless, that you don't need to be focusing on because they are out of your control? I feel like oftentimes we can tend to do that subconsciously, unknowingly, because we do fear handling situations that we know we can indeed control, because then that means that we have responsibilities. That means that then we do have to take accountability. Whereas having a false sense of control doesn't come with a lot of risks, right? Because it's making me think of someone at the driver's seat, the actual driver who is driving the car, versus someone at the passenger seat who is fake driving, who is pretending like they are driving, but they're not really driving the car. And so being in the passenger seat might be frustrating, but might feel a little bit more comfortable than being in the driver's seat, because it releases us of that responsibility, right? But it's time to be in the driver's seat. It's time to release that false sense of control and start focusing on that which you can indeed maneuver and direct, so that then you will stop feeling powerless and start realizing what it is that you are capable of, what it is that you can do, so that then you can start tapping more into your potential and creating with more ease. And you guys have a lot to offer. I feel like there's a lot that you guys still have yet to do, still have yet to create. So much. But the animal octopus might be of significance. Dragons, dragonflies, serpents could be of significance as well. Oh, what just came to mind is that a lot of you may be healing your relationship with the father figure or a parental figure or an authoritative figure, or maybe with authority. I see you releasing feelings of resentment. I feel like resentment has been creating some blockages, has maybe even been creating a victim mentality, or keeping you in a victim mindset. But to end your reading, I do want to offer you an opportunity to ask a yes or no question, and we will hopefully receive a direct answer through the assistance of a pendulum. Okay, but there are two options to choose from. So what you can do, if you like, is either select one of these two crystals that you see here, if you do only have one yes or no question in mind. But if you happen to have two yes or no questions that you would like a direct answer to, then you can assign a different question to each one of these crystals. So we have the smoky quartz crystal, and we also have the turquoise stone. Okay, so take a moment to either think of your questions, assign them, or meditate on the options and see which one you are drawn to the most. And I will begin with those who chose the smoky quartz. Let us see what the answer for you is. So the pendulum is swinging back and forth on maybe. So the answer to your question is a maybe, which indicates that maybe things haven't yet been set in stone in regards to whatever it is that you are inquiring. It can go either way. Or maybe there is something that you can do at this moment to shift the situation in a more favorable direction, or one that is more to your liking, perhaps. But now we are moving on to those who were drawn to the turquoise. What is the answer for you? So as you can see, the pendulum is swinging back and forth on no. So the answer to your yes or no question is no. Okay, but these are all the messages we have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it was of some assistance. If you enjoyed the reading, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you are new to this channel and you would like to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. If you are interested, all the information is provided in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to your ancestors and whoever it is that came through to assist me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye-bye. Hello group 2, bienvenidos to your reading. So when meditating on this group's energy, the song I'll Make a Man Out of You from the Disney movie Mulan came to mind. And the specific part that I heard in my mind was, let's get down to business. So this gives me the feeling that currently or very soon you will be in preparation for something major, something grand in your life. It sort of feels like at this moment or very soon, you will be in training. Maybe some of you are indeed training for a very important event, maybe an athletic feat or competition perhaps, or maybe you are or thinking about training for you, maybe like for a fitness journey, something along those lines, training your muscles. Right now, what just came to mind was muscle memory, but this doesn't have to be physical training. It could be any other type of practice that requires for you to be consistent, maybe even a little bit repetitive, so that whatever it is that you are doing becomes habitual, almost instinctual. You don't really have to think about it. It comes easy to you naturally. And what is coming to mind is intuitive muscles. So a lot of you could be practicing on how to work with your intuition, how to listen, pay attention to your intuition, or you could also be exercising certain psychic abilities of yours, how to be more open, receptive to your psychic awareness, intuition. But what else was coming through is that your ancestors are currently or very soon will be working with you. And they could be working with you, let's say psychically, energetically. If you are someone who meditates, you could be connecting with them through meditation, channeling the knowledge, the wisdom, the guidance of your ancestors. Also, a lot of you could be meeting with your ancestors in the astral plane. And this is most likely to happen when you are asleep, when you are not resisting your subconscious, because it often is the case that it is when we enter into the REM sleep. That is when we are the more connected with our subconscious and the easiest to momentarily separate our astral body from our physical body. But what else was coming through is that for those of you who have been wanting a teacher, a guide, a mentor, or you have been wanting direct guidance in this physical 3D, it's very possible that soon a mentor will enter your life. And it is through this mentor or teacher that your ancestors will be working with you. Because something very interesting did happen when I was meditating on this group's energy, which was that I did catch myself drifting off. My thoughts began swirling, I began overthinking, and I did sense that I was getting a little too ahead of myself. And so when this happened, I immediately heard a voice, a very calming voice in my mind, to focus and to breathe. And when I heard this voice, I was brought back into the moment. And all those thoughts that were kind of rushing me to move forward, to move on to the next thing, silenced. And so if you tend to overthink or you are quite anxious most of the time, then I feel your ancestors, they are or they will be working with you to learn how to ground, bring yourself back to the present and soothe yourself. soothe those anxious feelings through grounding. I feel grounding is very important, as well as knowing how to direct your focus, being disciplined about your focus and your attention. The message that just came to mind was a lot of power comes from where you direct your focus. And what just came through about focus is quite similar to what came through for group 1, because there were messages about how it's important to know where to direct your focus in order to get the best out of a situation or not to feel powerless and so forth. So maybe you were also drawn to group 1, or maybe you just came from group 1, but yeah, if you do feel called to do so, I do recommend for you to maybe listen to group 1, because there could be messages in that group meant for you to hear at this moment as well, or maybe for some other time. But now let us move on to the cards. Also, because the film Mulan, it is set in China, your ancestors, or one of the ancestors that may be coming through for you in this reading, could have been born, raised in China, could have been of Chinese descent, or maybe you are of Chinese descent, or Chinese culture, maybe Chinese practice, traditions. What just came through was Chinese medicine, could be of significance for some of you. Maybe some of you are interested in learning more about traditional Chinese medicine or practices. Or if not Chinese, it could be Oriental medicine practices. Maybe East Asia could be of significance. Countries such as China, Japan, Mongolia, North and South Korea, Taiwan. This could also be your heads up that if you are interested in traveling, especially traveling abroad, and you are not from East Asia, then it's possible that in your near future or very soon, you are going to be traveling or visiting a country in East Asia. But several cards just fell out together, so let me try one more time. Okay, so we have the Flamingo with consideration and the message, a wading bird, Flamingo is no stranger to skirting the edges. In the shallows, we find complexity. Sand and water mix and mingle, making friends with change, erasing earlier imprints. Circling the edges, Flamingo encourages us to consider the pros and cons of remaining outside of or joining the flock. Ever present near the pool, Flamingo reminds us that each perspective is necessary and worthy of contemplation. Consider the possibilities if we all sat out or we all waded in. So for whatever reason, this sentence really stood out to me. Sand and water mix and mingle, making friends with change. Because how I interpret it is that very soon you will be coming together with people who are of a different cultural background than you, maybe whose upbringing was quite different than yours, maybe people who have different beliefs or have a different religious or spiritual practice. These could also be people that think quite differently from you, or they could just have been born and raised on a different part of the world than you. And it seems like it is through you coming together with these individuals that you are going to experience a lot of changes. I feel like for you, change will come through you allowing yourself to maybe get out of your comfort zone, which was a very similar message to that of group 1. But there is this feeling of trying new things, experimenting. I feel that it is important for you to not shy away from challenges or being challenged. And what I mean by that, as an example, is having your beliefs challenged, having a conversation with someone who thinks differently from you, and allowing yourself to be open to new ideas and new perspectives. Because with consideration, there is this feeling of not everyone thinks the same, not everyone has the same approach, and that is okay. This is not to say that someone is right and the other is wrong, or if there are differences, that is just an example of the diversity that exists in this realm, on this earth, in this world. You know, it's sort of like when you enter into a country with different traditions and values as that of your country, having consideration of those differences is important. Having the consideration to learn the traditions, maybe learn the language of the country if it is different from your mother tongue or any language that you do currently know. You know, it's this feeling of you're entering into someone's home, and instead of bringing your teachings and demanding that everyone follow what you do, you're taking into consideration that, well, you're stepping into someone else's home. You are being welcomed into someone else's home. Your hosts are no obligation to change their whole lifestyle, redecorate their entire space to accommodate to your needs and what you know and what you're comfortable or familiar with. Right? So this would be a perfect opportunity to practice adaptability and flexibility while still maintaining your individuality. Just seeing the space and reminding yourself, well, diversity does exist and there are differences. And some of these differences maybe I can adhere to, I can learn from, whereas there might be some things that I would like to not integrate into my own lifestyle, my own teachings, my own beliefs. And that is okay. Yet that doesn't mean that because I don't agree with something, I have to force everyone to see my way. Or it is up to me to change everybody to fit into my mold, right? So I don't know why this is coming up, but that's what I felt the most strongly when looking at the flamingo card. And it did remind me how flamingos, their feathers, their plumage isn't naturally pink. You know, they turn their iconic color through their diet. They get it from their food, which is, I believe, shrimp and algae. So that's making me think of adaptability. It's making me think how our environment does influence us. And as well as what we consume, it ends up influencing us and even changing us on a cellular level, microscopic level. So maybe this is also a heads up to you to be mindful of what it is that you consume. Be mindful of what it is that you practice. Be mindful of what you exercise on a day-to-day basis, what you keep repeating. And it's interesting because there were messages about training at the beginning, right? Training does require practice and repetition and consistency. So it's important to keep that into consideration because the expression, the famous expression, you are what you eat, came to mind. So this could be quite general, but how it's coming through is that you are a result, or who you are today is a result of what you do on a day-to-day basis, what you keep repeating, what you keep choosing. Because I think there is this thought, this idea that change comes in a moment, and maybe that is possible, but I feel change can feel like it happens in a moment, but it's usually the result of something that has been worked upon, something that has been built upon for some time. So if you're thinking, well, what I do today doesn't matter. What I did a few seconds ago does not matter. Or if there is something I want to change, I'll start tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you push it to the next day because you believe that what you do now, what you do tomorrow, what you do in 5 minutes will not count or doesn't matter. This is your reminder that every moment counts. So if you want something to change, you don't have to wait for a specific time or for a specific date. You can start creating changes now, even by the way that you think, by your mindset, what you choose to focus on, as mentioned previously, what you choose to believe. And never underestimate the power of small acts or what are perceived to be small acts, because those do count as well. And it's so interesting because this flamingo, the coloring of it, we do have its iconic color, which is pink, but there's also splotches of brown, which is making me think of like dense, low energy. It's making me think of blockages. It's making me think of muck. And so I feel this is also your heads up or your reminder to consider energy hygiene or spiritual hygiene. Consider being mindful of your own energy field, like cleansing your energy field before you head to bed. At the start of the day, setting intentions to protect your energy, to protect yourself. Because again, very similar to group 1, you may be quite sensitive to the energy around you, or how it's coming through is that maybe at this moment you are needing boundaries, because I feel your energy or your energy field, or maybe this is pertaining to your thoughts, your mind, the way that you think, it's quite susceptible to the energy around you. Or this could be a situation in which maybe you are, or you tend to be quite impressionable. You are easily influenced by your environment or by what others are doing, what others are saying, how others are behaving. This could be something that you're very aware of, but this could also be something that maybe you're not so aware of. So the example that is coming to mind is of two people who have different accents. And one of these two people ends up picking up on the accent of the other without them realizing they have done so. And it's simply because they have spent some amount of time together, right? Or it's making me think of someone who easily picks up on the mannerisms of another just because they spent a few hours with them. And this is neither a good or a bad thing. It's just if any of this is making sense to you, and oftentimes you feel a little bit confused, or you feel like you're not all that yourself, or your energy feels a little bit heavy, dense, you catch yourself thinking certain things that you normally wouldn't think about, or behaving in ways that do not really resonate with you, then it could very well be because you are picking up on the energy around you, or something, someone has left an impression on you, and now you are projecting it, or it's manifesting in your behaviors and your actions. And so when that happens, know that you can cleanse yourself of that which isn't of you. You can come back to center. Because the flamingo, it's making me think of balance. It's making me think of alignment. So yeah, I feel for you guys, it's very important to learn how to ground, to know how to come back to center, so that then you can better discern, okay, well, that energy there, that isn't of me, or that which I am feeling right now, it's not truly of me. I feel it's something that I have picked up on, or I recall that this is how someone that I spent a couple of minutes with was feeling. And so having this discernment, I think it will immediately help with you cleansing your energy, releasing yourself of anything that isn't of you or of your highest good, or it's just maybe creating confusion or blockages. But I also feel with Flamingo that you are being given a heads up that there is going to be a very big shift or change in your life where the before and after is going to be so drastic. And I am thinking of a change in your environment. So a lot of you could be relocating. A lot of you could be moving into a new location, moving to a new country, settling down somewhere entirely different than where you currently are residing. Like the environment, the weather, the climate, the culture, the language, the food is very, very different. And this change, this transition, it's going to have a major effect on you, because with Flamingo, I am seeing not only a change in your environment, not only a change in your day-to-day routines, in your lifestyle, but also a major change in you, your personality. And again, it's going back to how your environment has a great influence on you. So if you are moving or relocating to a country with entirely different cuisines than the ones that you are accustomed to, your body is accustomed to, you consuming these new cuisines after a while, that's going to create a change in your diet. And that in itself is going to have a major impact on either your physique or your physical health or your physical body. This could also be something like the climate. If the weather is different, if you're moving to a location with a temperate climate and you're coming from a place with a tropical climate, that may have some effects on your complexion, or maybe even on your mood, on your temperament. So yeah, it seems like you are going to go through a major transformation, and it could be a result of lifestyle changes, of you moving into a new location, of you eating different foods, hearing different opinions. seeing different practices, maybe practicing something different yourself. So I guess the heads up with the flamingo is, before you take anything on, before you choose to adapt into or integrate anything into your day-to-day, make it a habit, make it a practice of yours. Really consider whether this is something that you truly want to integrate into your way of living, into your way of being. Because it is, of course, important to be open to different perspectives, because that's how we learn, how we grow, how we don't stay stuck in the same old. But it's also important to practice discernment. It's also important for you to remember that you have a choice. And to choose to not follow something doesn't mean that you have to be disrespectful of it, or doesn't mean that you have to take it upon you to make everybody else also stop following what you don't yourself believe in or want to follow. Because with this message of Flamingo reminds us that each perspective is necessary and worthy of contemplation. It's more so about you giving yourself the time and space to be an observer for a while. Simply observe, simply take into consideration what is going on around you, so that then you can choose for yourself what you want to adhere, believe in, and choose to practice. What works for you in specific. And some of you could actually be entering into a relationship, like a romantic relationship or a long committed relationship. I was thinking of marriage. So if you are wanting to marry, you could be marrying into a family that has very different beliefs than you, belief systems. You could be marrying a partner who comes from a different culture, who has a different cultural background than you. And so there could be this time in which you're trying to kind of balance out maybe your beliefs with your partner's beliefs. Or if you are thinking about having children, this is also making me think of considering the upbringing of your children. Like if there are very different belief systems or practices, traditions and cultures, what practices, what beliefs to uphold in the house, in the home. And it's interesting because I was going to pull out tarot cards and these two cards fell out they fell on the floor together. And we have the 10 of Stones with home. This is the 10 of Pentacles. And we also have the Hooded Man. And this is the Hermit card. Yeah, so a lot of you could be soon entering into a partnership or a marriage where there are differences. We do have here two stones, one with a male figure carved on it and one with a female figure carved on it, representing masculine and feminine energies. And so it's also making me think of like different upbringings or different perspectives, ideas on how to care for a child. And so there will be a time in which collaboration, teamwork will be required, because it seems like a stable or healthy home will be built upon two different perspectives, two different systems. So if you're thinking, well, can two things that are very different from each other, can they work together? This is your confirmation that yes, they can. But there needs to be some common ground. There needs to be collaboration. There needs to be consideration. If you are entering into this thinking that there only needs to be one way, or that there's only one way, one right way, then it will be very difficult to create a stable foundation, right? Because this archway here, it's only maintained because there are these two pillars, and both of them are required, both of them needed. Because if one of them stopped existing, then this whole archway will fall, right? So I feel the 10 of Stones is also kind of a heads up to you to allow a little bit more diversity in your life. It doesn't always have to be one way or the other. Some of you could have, or you could struggle with, a black and white mentality. It's either black or it's white. It's one extreme or the other. And your ancestors at this moment, they're working with you to understand that there's more, that it's a spectrum, that it's not always one or the other, that there's more in between. There are gray areas. And for you to be more open to and receptive to those gray areas. because the Ten of Stones also makes me think of the harmony between the inner masculine and the inner feminine. So we all have both masculine and feminine energies within us, which create harmony. The feminine envisions, imagines, and receives, and the masculine brings forth the imaginings, the visions of the feminine. The masculine takes action. The masculine makes that which was an idea of the feminine tangible. So the masculine puts forth. And so I feel that for you, you are learning how to be in both your masculine and your feminine energies. You are learning how to not only imagine and vision, but also gather the strength and muster the courage to bring your imaginings, your visions to life, to put in the work, the effort that is needed to manifest that which your feminine, inner feminine imagines. And you are also learning to receive, because that's what the feminine is about, being open to receiving. And the home makes me think of feeling at home within yourself, of stability and security, of safety. So it seems like at this moment you're building foundations. It makes me think of someone who is getting to know themselves, someone who is getting a better understanding of maybe what they believe in, what they value, their priorities. And having that clear, having that in mind, they're building a life on that. And so this lets me know that you are already creating a life that is very close to your dream life, or more like you are creating with intention. So whatever it is that you're choosing to integrate into your day-to-day, whatever it is that you're choosing to follow, it's making me think of someone who has recently moved in somewhere, and instead of decorating their space right away, they're taking their time. They're being very intentional with how they decorate their space. It's making me think of curating a space. So everything that you own, everything that's in your possession, everything that is a part of your life echoes a part of who you are. It's a reflection of who you are at the core. It's not just something that you chose and grabbed onto and clinged onto because others were doing so as well, because it was popular or trendy, or because that was what you thought you should hold on to. Like, no, you're being more mindful. Now you're being more intentional. Now it's truly about curating a life that meets your needs and resonates with you, echoes who you are. It's sort of like you projecting yourself onto this reality through every little detail, everything that you do, everything that you choose, everything that you have in your space. It's almost as if, like, if I were to sit in your living room or in your space, I would immediately think, oh yes, this is group 2. This feels like group 2. I am in group 2 space. There's no denying that. And I'm not sure if I'm expressing it well, because it's a very beautiful energy, because it's so unique, right? Because there's no one else like you. There could be people who are very similar to you, but in actuality, you are a one of a kind. And so to create a life that is a reflection of you, it's like entering into a unique world. It's like stepping into a universe of its own, because you are a universe of your own. And then we do have the hooded man here, which is the hermit, which speaks of introspection, self-reflection. So again, this makes me think of someone who is quite in tune with themselves, someone who is taking the time to ask themselves the deep, meaningful, and important questions. Like, does this truly resonate with me? And it does give me this energy of exploration, because how it's coming through in this illustration is that the hermit is simply traveling. The hermit is, in a way, wandering. They don't have a set plan as to where they are headed, where they are going. Instead, they are exploring, right? And as they are moving forward, they are getting a better understanding of the world that they are in and of themselves as well. So at this moment, you could be in a soul-searching journey, per se. You could be learning more about yourself, kind of developing a personality. That's how it's coming through, and that's how it was coming through with the Flamingo card. So I don't know if, I mean, we develop our personality throughout our entire lives, but it sort of feels like for some time, you kind of were maybe focused on other things, maybe focused on other people. Maybe you were trying to look for the answers outside of you through others, maybe by doing as others were doing, following others, or you had this idea about yourself that wasn't truly a reflection of who you are at the core. And it seems like now, or for a while now, like recently, you've taken it upon yourself to figure yourself out or allow yourself to be, so that you could get a better understanding of what your likes, your true interests are. So instead of trying to follow in somebody else's footsteps to see if that resonates with you or not, now you're just allowing yourself to explore, to see what is out there, and only gravitate to that which you feel a natural pull to. And it's beautiful because the hooded man, you know, shining their lantern upon this wren here, this little bird, it is making me think of you taking the time to listen to others, you taking the time to not follow what others are doing, but simply observe. Like, hey, you know, tell me your story. Like taking the time to hear other people's story, learn about them, listen to their perspectives, what they believe in, and, you know, being open to what they have to say. It sort of feels like your world is growing bigger. It's getting bigger, not by how much you are accumulating, not through your achievements, let's say, or what you are acquiring in terms to possessions, but it's getting bigger because you are allowing yourself to be more open. You are seeing the world around you. You're seeing, it's like, it's making me think of someone who is walking down the street and the whole time they're looking down at the gravel at their feet. And so because the whole time they have their eyes set on a specific point, they don't acknowledge the world that is around them and how vast and great it is, how many people are walking down the street with them. And so their world could seem very small. When they get home and they look back on their walk, their memories will be filled of gravel. Like, that's all I saw, my feet and the gravel. Whereas someone who took the time to actually look up and look around, they would have a different perspective. Their world will seem a little bigger because they would take note of the people who were also walking down the street. They would maybe take note of the sounds, the noises, the smells. They would notice that there's a whole sky above them and that there's streets upon streets or fields upon fields. So when they get back home and they think back on their walk, their world is not going to feel so small. It's going to feel slightly bigger. And so that's what I'm sensing here. It's like you're looking up. This whole time you've been looking down, and now you're looking up because you're taking into account, you're considering everything that is around you. You're taking into account the people, and that the people have stories of their own, that the people have struggles of their own, that the people are universes of their own. And so you are a universe, you are a world amongst worlds, amongst universes. And so by you taking this into consideration, your world becomes a little bit bigger, richer, and vast. And so I do see you communicating. I do see you conversing. You could be socializing a little bit more. And it's interesting because the Hermit is the complete opposite of that. You know, the Hermit is not often interpreted as a card that indicates socializing, but that's what I'm kind of sensing for you guys. And I'm getting a mix of both. Like, a lot of you could identify as hermits, maybe homebodies. You love spending time at home or indoors, or you are someone who gathers strength or energy from being alone, being in solitude, instead of being in public places or with others. But I do feel with the hooded man that although you are maintaining this part of yourself, the hermit part, in other words, if you're a homebody, you're not stopping being a homebody. You're still a homebody. You're still enjoying the things that you naturally enjoy, but you're also giving yourself permission to open yourself up to the world around you, to listen to people, to communicate, to converse. And it could be in moderation. It doesn't have to be something drastic and something that you're always doing. It could be when you feel called to do so, when you feel called to explore something new, learn something new. Because the hooded man makes me think of someone who's quite in tune, like someone who takes inspired action. And I'm getting such a gentle, warm, and loving energy from the hooded man. So someone who doesn't judge or is easy to judge or assume things about others. This is someone who takes their time to listen, to allow others to speak their truth, to share their story, to share their side of the story. So again, with Flamingo, it's making me think of being open to the different perspectives, understanding that there's always two sides to a story or more sides to one story. It's making me think of several people in a room, and although all these people are in the same room, if you speak to each one of them individually, they will each retell their account of being in this room differently. They will each have a different experience, even though they were all in the same setting, in the same place, the same location. Because different perspectives, perceptions, different upbringings, different beliefs make for different interpretations of the same thing. And we have the green woman, beautiful. This is a very beautiful energy. The green woman is the Empress, and the Empress is feminine energy, divine feminine energy. And it is a card of fertility, creation, abundance, nurture, nature, life. And so this to me indicates that you are entering into your creator energy. You are birthing something new, and this could be indicating a new chapter of your life. The number 3 is a number of expansion, growth. So it seems like you are expanding your world. This could be your perspective. The green woman, speaking of fertility, is also making me think of family, motherhood, parenthood. So some of you could very soon becoming parents. Of course, that is if it's in your plans. If it's not, just remember, if you are sexually active, to use protection, because I do see there being a high possibility of conceiving. But the green woman is also making me think of sensuality and sexuality, sexual energy, and sexual energy can manifest as creative energy. But I do feel like this is representing a time in your life in which you are going to feel quite satisfied. That's how it came through. Or you are going to seek to satisfy your needs. This is making me think of the energy of Taurus, like wanting to eat delicious food, wanting to indulge the senses, like be surrounded by beautiful things, things that you perceive to be beautiful, things that inspire you. You could be feeling quite inspired during this time, very creative. You could be driven to create. I'm thinking a lot of the senses, like being very drawn to scents, being very drawn to texture, to color, to aesthetics, to ambience, wanting to create a beautiful ambience for yourself, wanting beauty. There's something here about wanting beauty, wanting to surround yourself with beauty, wanting to exude beauty. And I'm getting such a natural charm coming from the green woman. So this could be a time in which you are feeling very comfortable in your own skin. You are strutting your stuff is how it's coming through. Like when you're walking down the street, you're walking down the street with confidence. I'm not sensing a lot of self-consciousness coming through with the green woman. So if you struggle with self-consciousness, I feel like you will be working through that, or you will come to this point in which that won't be really a concern because you don't see how that is really helpful or beneficial, or how maybe that's just a social construct. That's how it's coming through. Like that's a lie. I don't really know what this is about, but maybe that's how you will be perceiving it at some point. Like there's no need to be self-conscious. Like that's just a belief, a notion that keeps one stuck, that keeps one limited. And so there's this feeling of breaking free from maybe a belief, a notion that was in the past or maybe currently really holding you back, like keeping you from flourishing and blooming is how it's coming through. And it seems like a lot of you are already creating a life that you feel quite proud of. It seems like you are on your way to building or solidifying something that you feel very, very proud of, that you feel very good in and settled in as well. So with the green woman, it's also making me think of someone who has built something from the ground up. So some of you could be in the process of maybe building a house, a property, or this could be like a lifestyle, your home, or a family. But for others of you, this could be pertaining to a business, maybe a creative endeavor. But with the green woman and the 10 of stones, I do see you having something of your own. Something that is of you, something that is under your name. So again, this could be a property, this could be a business, a project, an idea perhaps that you're patenting, copywriting. The green woman is also making me think of someone who has made a name for themselves, who has established their spot or a spot in an industry perhaps. Or what else is coming through is you having a practice, you having a ritual, again, something that is of you. So by this point, I see you having structure in your life. I see there being stability or you feeling stable. Some of you could have a spiritual practice by this point that you're following on a day-to-day basis. I see you having consistency with something. You're consistently practicing something and getting better at it, or getting more familiar with it, or gaining much more stability from it. How it's coming through is you're the queen or the king of your own realm. But I want to pull out a card from the Native Spirit Oracle card deck to see what else comes through for you. The green woman is also very nurturing, empathic, and empathetic. And so it's making me think of someone who is respectful or just is considerate of other people's beliefs, practices, and who doesn't seek for others' approval in order to practice what they believe in. Like, they're very comfortable with just having their own validation, their own permission to pursue that which they feel called to pursue. Like, they don't need the permission of others. And we have answering the call. Interesting. So rainbows could be of significance. And this made me think of traveling again. So some of you could be relocating. You could be moving to a location that you feel very drawn to, or that for a while now, maybe for the majority of your life, you have felt very drawn to. This could be something like you will find home or solace in a land, a country, a place that is far from or not the place that you actually grew up in or were raised in. And answering the call is also making me think of maybe starting a spiritual journey or becoming more open to maybe your psychic abilities, connecting with spirit perhaps. But I do want to read the guidebook message that is associated with this card. And I would recommend for you not to skip this part of the reading, because I do feel like the guidebook messages provide a lot of insight and they kind of read as direct messages. So they could very well be coming through as a direct message from your ancestors. But of course, it is up to you. Let's see, answering the call. So we have card meaning. You've been called. If you've been waiting for your life to shift, the waiting is over. Your true and authentic life is happening. Wow. If you've been hoping for a sign, this is it. Right now, your spirit guides, ancestors, and loved ones who have passed on are sending you messages, love, and healing. You've been called. And a gateway is opening for communications from these spiritual realms. Now, and in the days ahead, signs from spirit will be all around you. Watch for them. Wow, because we have been talking about creating a life that is more a true reflection of you. And then, we have this message of your true and authentic life is happening. Okay, so that I feel is confirmation. But we also have your native spirit wants you to know, and you can read this as your ancestors wants you to know. Indigenous people look to the clouds, the winds, and the movement of animals to discern the secret messages from the Creator. In native traditions, life is ruled by signs. Right now, your spirit helpers are telling you that this is your time. The waiting is over. Sometimes we spend so much time waiting for life to happen that we miss the joy in the moment. Cherish the here and now, and know that no matter what concerns you may have, in the deepest sense, you are ready. Believe, follow the signs, and miracles will abound. Your time is now. the journey. Look for signs. They are all around you. The feather that alights at your feet, the penny that mysteriously appears, or the rainbow splashed across the sky may be a sign that spirit is trying to get your attention. Watch your dreams. Messages from spirit are often conveyed in the nocturnal hours. Ooh, we kind of did talk about the REM sleep. So dreams may be of significance. You could be getting a lot of signs, confirmation, or messages, guidance, insight via your dreams. So if you awake, if after awakening you recall your dreams, do consider writing them down, because at some later time you might feel called to read what you wrote down, and that's when maybe the answer to a question that you currently have at that moment will be found in what you wrote down possibly, or clarity will come to you from recalling your dreams and so forth. Also, some of you could be interested in dream interpretation. That could be something that comes quite naturally to you, knowing how to interpret these signs and symbols in dreams. But with the green woman, this is making me think of synchronicities and the answering the call to speak about signs. So if currently you're experiencing a lot of synchronicities, if you are seeing a lot of signs, then that could be indicating that you are already in this green woman energy, that you are already, making way for this new beginning, that you are ready to, or you have already shifted maybe into a new timeline, into a new reality. Like you're very much already in the reality that you have been intending to live, to create, to manifest. So don't hesitate. That would be the message. When you are in this green woman energy, don't hesitate. Keep moving forward. Keep aligning with that which you are drawn to, that which feels to be of your highest good. Keep empowering yourself by focusing on that which allows for you to create, because there are, as mentioned with group 1, we tend to feel powerless when we place a lot of focus and attention onto things that we have no control over, because there are bound to be things that we have no control over, such as how other people feel, what other people do. And so the more we focus on those things, the easier it will be to believe that we have no control over the creation of our reality, of our experiences. So focus on that which is in your power, which would be how you choose to respond, what you choose to believe in, what you choose to allow, and so forth. I keep getting images in my mind of beautiful sceneries, images that convey an idyllic lifestyle or convey a romantic aesthetic, or just peace, tranquility, serenity. So if that's something that you've been wanting for yourself, if that's the kind of lifestyle that you want for yourself, I do see you having that, or I do see you on your way to that. And it's more like you're creating it. Like right now, you are creating it by what you are choosing to integrate in your day-to-day, how you are choosing to move about your life, what you're choosing to focus on. So if you are already taking steps towards what it is that you want to experience more of, keep doing that. Keep doing it, because you are guiding yourself in the direction that you actually favor, that you actually want to go in. So keep doing as you're doing, because you are indeed answering the call. And answering the call is making me think of someone who is done and fed up with doing the same old, who is done and fed up with how it came through as mediocrity, or is like no longer wants to be a victim to their circumstances. They are now wanting to stand up and stand firm and declare what it is that they want and what they allow and what they don't allow. And there's so much grace with the green woman. So it's making me think of someone handling their situation with a lot of grace, self-empowerment, and authority, yet without this need to demand attention or to demand respect. So I'm not getting any self-righteousness from the green woman, which is very important, because I think a lot of people mix or confuse arrogance with confidence. They mix having boundaries with self-righteousness, being self-righteous. And so I feel like you're quite clear on that. And you're embodying more of a confident aura. Someone that doesn't need to push their beliefs, their ideals onto others in order to feel comfortable in being who they are, or feel powerful. Like, no, they can feel powerful by simply being themselves and allowing others to be themselves as well. Yes, and the green woman is also making me think of a glow up. So I do see you focusing, or there will be a time in which you will be focusing more on your health, on eating healthy, eating in ways that do make you feel good, mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. I do see you taking care of yourself, your personal hygiene, of your persona, of your physique. Like, you are being more mindful of your physical body. I see you taking pleasure and pride in taking care of yourself, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual hygiene, your physical health, and your appearance as well. So this could be a time in which you're really wanting to look good, or just you are taking the time, investing the time to make sure that you're feeling good in your body, that you're smelling good. There's something here about scent or smell. I don't know why, but that could be of significance for some of you. Maybe some of you will develop or do have currently the ability of clairsalience, which is clear smelling, the ability to pick up on scent smells psychically. And a lot of you could at some point feel called to work with elementals or with the elements. Maybe that is something that you are going to be taught by a teacher, a mentor. We kind of did speak about that. There's something here about ritual, spell work, concoctions, potions, or remedies. Some of you could be, or you might at some point be interested in botany, becoming a botanist, or herbologist, horticulturist, or in homeopathy. But now I do want to move on to the last segment of this reading, where if you like, you may ask a yes or no question, and I will set the intention to connect with your ancestors via the pendulum to receive a direct answer from them. So I do have two crystals here. I have a smoky quartz crystal and also a turquoise stone. And if you have more than, or if you do have two questions, then what you can do, if you like, is assign a different question to each one of these crystals here. But if you only have one question in mind, then you can take a moment to meditate on the options, see which one you are drawn to, and the one that you are drawn to, that one will have the answer for you. So I will give you a moment to think of your questions, assign them, or select an option. And I will start with those who were drawn to the smoky quartz. So for those who chose the smoky quartz, what is the answer for them? Okay, so the pendulum is swinging back and forth on maybe. So the answer to your question is a maybe. So this could be something like it can go either way, or maybe at this moment, the answer has not been set in stone because things are still up in the air pertaining to your situation or your question. But now moving on to the turquoise stone. So the answer to your question is yes. The pendulum is swinging back and forth on yes. Okay, but these are all the messages I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you are new to this channel and you want to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching until the very end, and to all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to your ancestors and whoever else came through to assist me with delivering these messages to you. So thank you very much. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye-bye. Hello group 3, bienvenidos to your reading. So a couple of messages came to mind when meditating on this group's energy, which were: start at the beginning, there is no direction, work your way up, and start over. So if at this moment you happen to feel or be a little bit lost, you are without direction, you don't know what next step to take, or you feel like you don't know what it is that you are doing, your ancestors are advising you to go back to the beginning. Go back to when you started the project that you're working on, or when you started pursuing whatever it is that you're currently still pursuing or are now a part of or involved in. Go back to when you still felt like the world was your oyster, when you still strongly and truly believed that you could accomplish anything you set your mind to. When you felt that doors of opportunity were waiting for you, go back to that time. Center yourself in that time, in that mindset, to remember what your goals were, what was driving you then, what incentives you had then. Because it is in the beginning, the start of it all, that's how it's coming through, that clarity will come. Something will click, something will make sense to you. Also, if you feel like something isn't working out at this moment, or it's just not faring well, you are being advised to consider starting over. The example that is coming to mind is of someone who has been coming up with a plan, but they have been working on this plan for quite some time now, adding more and more to it, so much so that now it's become very complex and overwhelming. Now it's become quite daunting, and looking at the plan, it seems almost unachievable. And so instead of continuing with this plan that is possibly overwhelming the planner at this moment, what is being advised is for them to start over, start again. But this time, try not to overdo it. Try not to go overboard. Don't overthink it. You don't have to be so detailed. Having the gist of it, having a blueprint will be good enough. So maybe some of you have currently been thinking about something, coming up with a plan, an idea, have been brainstorming, but maybe you've been thinking about this way too much, adding way too much to it, that now it has become overwhelming for you, or now you have become discouraged to even actually start pursuing this or start working on it. Or if you have started working on this, maybe you feel blocked or again overwhelmed, and that is not allowing for you to continue with this or come up with more ideas or have the inspiration to continue. And if that is the case, again, you are being advised to start over. Try a different approach maybe, or maybe a different format, a different style, one that is a bit more simplistic, maybe minimalistic, one that doesn't have so much detail or so many steps to it. How it's coming through is it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to start perfect. Just start somewhere. Most things that end being nearly perfect are things that started off rough. Think of a polished gemstone, like a diamond. It doesn't start looking that way. That's the way it looks after it's been polished, after it's been worked on for quite some time. So again, start at the beginning, start with something and then work your way up. Work your way to where you want to be. Okay, but now... And maybe this is pertaining to it, or it's kind of a metaphor when it comes to your personal journey, your healing journey, your spiritual personal development. It doesn't have to look perfect now, and it most likely will never look perfect. But the important thing is that you start somewhere. With the intention of seeing or achieving betterment. But we have Fox with ingenuity and the message, Fox is a clever, witty character, a sly and patient observer, a master of artful precision. He models swift, confident action. Gilded with ingenuity, Fox embodies dexterity of idea, capacity of intuition, and prowess of spirit. He demonstrates skills of observation, analysis, and deduction in his creative approach to life. Pondering possibilities, he prompts us to move toward action. In the face of opposition, he assures us that we have the capacity. He encourages us to embrace our creativity. Yeah, so it seems at this moment you are being called to or encouraged to create, to not get blocked by ideas of perfection or perfectionism tendencies. I feel like this is the moment to maybe not have a plan. A lot of you could actually be creators or creatives. You could be quite experimental. You like to experiment with new things, or you like to learn, you like to discover new things. And it seems that your ancestors are wanting for you to not limit yourself at this moment. They are wanting for you to play around, be playful, experiment, because it isn't trying to plan every single little step, every detail, and trying to maybe predict how something is going to turn out or predict outcomes, or being quite rigid in your creative process, that you are blocking yourself. You are stopping yourself from actually creating or from moving forward or from finding the answer, the solution to any problem that does arise or that you believe right now is keeping you from moving forward. Because I keep sensing blockages. And so it's almost as if your ancestors are advising you to relax. Let loose a little bit. It doesn't have to be so cutthroat. It doesn't have to be so exact, perfect, or concise. It's meant to be loose. That's what they are saying. It's meant to be loose. It's meant to be flexible. It's meant to be open and expansive. It's meant to be something that you can stretch and mold. It's meant to be malleable. So don't get so fixed on it looking a certain way, because that is blocking you. So I'm not sure if some of you currently are feeling like you have peaked, like you have reached the point in which you can offer no more. I'm being reminded of Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. Her talent or her skill as a witch, she's a witch by the way, is to fly on her broom. But she does reach this point in which she can no longer fly. And the whole time where she is unable to fly on her broom, she somewhat believes that it is because she is losing her magic, or she is without magic, or because she's in a way no longer a witch. Yet that isn't the case. She later realizes that she's going through a bit of a lull, or she's experiencing a blockage. Something is blocking her magic. So her magic is still in her. She's still magical. She's still very much a witch. It's just that something is blocking her magic. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. I feel like some of you could be feeling or thinking like you're a vase that was full, but you have poured your last drop. And that's it. There's nothing more. When in reality, there's still more. You are not empty. There's still more. It's just that something is blocking you. And I wonder if that something is either perfectionism tendencies, this idea or notion to be perfect, or some kind of expectation, some kind of ideal. It could also be inaction. Maybe you have spent so much time planning and being in the planning stages, thinking, brainstorming, that now you've sort of got caught up in that and you don't know how to get out of it. There could even be something like throughout the whole process of brainstorming and planning, you developed a fear or a hesitation of taking action. Because the more we plan, the more we feel like we have to plan more. Like, oh no, there's more things to consider. There's more things to plan for. I'm not ready. We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to do more, think of more, plan for more. And that keeps us in those planning stages. And so what is coming through here is it's okay to plan. It's okay to brainstorm. It's okay to have ideas. It's okay to have an idea of how you want something to look or turn out. But remember that there's variables. that are not going to be revealed to you until much later, until you actually start taking action. They're going to be the result of some kind of action that you must or will need to take at some point. So as much as we want to plan from the very start every single little thing, in reality we cannot, because of those unknown variables, because of those unknowns. So don't get so caught up in trying to make something look perfect from the get-go. Just have sort of an idea, a general idea of what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to create, the goal. Have that in mind, and then get moving. Take one step forward. Take some form of action. And if you feel stuck, like you don't know even what to plan for, there's this feeling of just get to it. I don't know. I keep thinking of an artist, someone who draws, and they don't know what to draw. And so because they don't know what to draw, they don't draw anything. And what is being advised to this artist is to simply pick up a pencil, a pen, a paintbrush, and just start scribbling, start doodling. Just allow for it to flow. The point is to get the energy flowing, for there to be movement, because it is through that then ideas will come, right? So let's say that the drawer ends up just scribbling. There's just scribbles. But then when the drawer looks at the scribbles, they start seeing something in the scribbles, like a character or some kind of image. And then that sparks an idea. But I feel like your ancestors are advising you, they're encouraging you to move, to take some form of action. And it doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be like taking a leap of faith. It could be something simple, like the example I gave, scribbling something on a piece of paper. I know oftentimes when one is blocked, it is recommended for them to not force it. Like, okay, if nothing is coming to you right now, then just let it be. Something is bound to come to you at some later point. So just go about your day. But for you guys, it's almost as if you are being advised to do a bit of the opposite. Like, okay, yes, don't force it, but also don't just sit there, is how it's coming through. Like, don't just wait for the idea to come or for inspiration to strike. Go out and look for it. Like, find the inspiration, inspire yourself in some way. It's making me think of like pumping something up, like pumping yourself in order to get things flowing. Because if you wait, if you just sit and wait or just think and contemplate, the more stuck you will feel. Let me pull out the tarot cards. By the way, foxes could be a spirit, power, animal of yours, or an animal totem, or your ancestors could come through for you in the form of foxes. Also, your ancestors, they like to remind you that you are being looked after by them through trinkets. So a sign that your ancestors are communicating with you, connecting with you, or just reminding you that they are around is if you find trinkets, if you find pennies, coins on the floor, or feathers, or when you're cleaning your room, you find a little trinket or like a button or something shiny. If a family member, a friend comes home with like a little gift for you, like a little toy or a marble, something along those lines, that's a gift or that's a sign from your ancestors. There's something about trinkets and shiny things and little knickknacks. I feel like they're relevant or they're associated with your ancestors. But we have the Seven of Arrows with insecurity. So this is the Seven of Swords. Interesting, this card fell out for group 1 as well. And we have the Two of Vessels with attraction. So this is the Two of Cups. And we have the Ancestor. Wow. So this is the Hierophant. So interesting that the Ancestor fell out for you guys. This is the only group in which this card fell out for them. So the Seven of Arrows does make me think of creative blockages or mental blockages, because arrows, they are associated with the mind, intellect, thoughts. And so with all of these arrows, it seems like there's a lot of overthinking, there's a lot of second guessing, there's a lot of doubt and hesitation going on. That at this moment, your energy could be pulled in various directions. Maybe there's a lot of ideas coming to you to the point where you don't know what to focus on. It almost gives me this feeling of there is a lot going on in the mind, so much so that the mind goes blank. So if you find yourself going blank, if you find yourself not knowing what to say, forgetting what it is that you are going to say, if you are about to start creating or start working or doing something, and then once you are there, all of a sudden you go blank, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, you don't know where to start. It could be because in actuality, there's a lot going on in your mind. It's almost giving me this feeling of a burnout, a mental burnout. Also with insecurity, it could be that there has been a lot of self-doubt. There has been a lot of insecurities. And so if that is the case, that hasn't allowed for you to just free flow, to just do what it is that you naturally feel called to do. So I wonder if a lot of you tend to get caught up in what others will think, in how others will receive your work, in whether how you're going about things is right or wrong. Because with the Seven of Arrows, there's this feeling of someone is starting to create, but then they start thinking of, oh, well, what if so-and-so doesn't like this? Or what if this is too cliche? Or what if this has already been done before? Or it has already been done before. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Or maybe I shouldn't do that because people won't like that. Or they will get offended by this. And so there's all of these doubts. There's all of these thoughts. And maybe even insecurities that are getting in the way. And they're chipping at your confidence. And they're creating more doubt. So much doubt that at the end of the day, it's almost as if you're left with nothing. To give a visual of this, let's say a painter is given a palette and several paintbrushes and canvases to choose from. And so they come in and they have all of these tools and they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to start painting. But then somebody comes and tells them, oh, well, you know what? No, you can't use the blue color because of these regulations. So let me take away the blue paint. And then the artist is like, okay, well, I still have all of these other colors to take into account. And then somebody else comes in and says, well, no, you can't use that color and that color and that color because so-and-so doesn't like it. So let me take it away. And somebody else comes and they're like, no, you know, those round brushes, I don't like them. You can't use those. Let me take them away. And it continues. People keep coming in and taking away resources, material because of whatever reason. And so at the end of it all, the painter is left with no tools, not a single paintbrush, not a single color, not a single canvas. And they're left there just sitting, wondering how and what to create when now they're so limited. And so the people coming in this example, taking away resources, tools, material, are your thoughts, our notions, our beliefs of what should be, what shouldn't, our insecurities and doubts. That chip and take until you're left with nothing. No tools, no inspiration, no desire or motivation to create because there's so many restrictions. This could even be a situation in which maybe there's so many restrictions around what you're doing. You feel limited maybe. And so that chips away at your inspiration. Like, well, what's the point? If I can't do this and if I can't do that, I can't be myself. So what's the point? And so your ancestors are wanting for you to consider this. Consider if it's your environment that is limiting you or creating a lot of restrictions that are making you feel limited. Or if it is your mentality, maybe your approach. If you do have perfectionism tendencies, it could be these perfectionism tendencies, these restrictions that you place upon yourself that are limiting you and blocking you. And if that is the case, your ancestors are advising for you to address that. Because if you keep up with this, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a way through this or a way out of this, or for you to regain your confidence. The Seven of Arrows is making me think of oppression, someone feeling or being oppressed. And the Seven of Arrows traditionally indicates theft, getting away with something, deceit, betrayal, And so it almost feels like something is stealing your joy. It's almost as if something that used to bring you joy, something that you were very playful with, now it's become joyless, and there's no more fun and play when it comes to it. It's become something more like a chore, something like an obligation, rather than something that you are passionate about, that inspires you. And with insecurity and Fox, for a lot of you, this may be pertaining to how you view yourself, how you approach yourself, your relationship with yourself. Because the persona in this card is the Green Woman, which is the Empress of this deck. And the Empress represents beauty and charm, life, vitality, abundance, fertility. So you are coming through as the Empress, yet you are coming through as an Empress who doesn't believe that they are indeed the Empress. You're coming through as an Empress who is feeling powerless or is not aware that they are the Empress. That's how it's coming through. So if at this moment you are doubting your worth, if you are playing small because you think that, or you believe that you are indeed small, like you don't matter much, or you don't make much of an impact, or that you don't have the power to change anything, that sort of thing, you are being let known that this way of going about things, this way of perceiving yourself, that is what is keeping you stuck and blocking you. Because in actuality, you are not stuck. Nothing outside of you is blocking you. So it's sort of like the only thing that is stopping you is you. The only thing that is keeping you from being in your power is you. Nothing and nobody else is. So your ancestors are coming through with the Seven of Arrows, advising you to stop it with the putting yourself down. And to be careful with that, because it can become a habit. And that's not a habit you want to reinforce. So whenever you find yourself putting yourself down, or you find your mind focusing on thoughts that make you feel powerless, or that don't allow for you to play, have fun, be creative, be yourself, take some time to pause and discern. Actively choose, consciously choose. Do I want to enable this? Do I want to reinforce this? Let it be an active, conscious decision. Because you don't have to be in this energy, and it will take some effort. It will take a little bit of your patience and your grace to get out of this mentality, mindset, to get out of this energy, but it is possible. Because as you can see in the illustration, the Green Woman looks as if she is in despair, as if she is trapped, but if you look closely, she is not trapped. This is reminding me a lot of the Eight of Swords in traditional tarot. It gives the illusion of being trapped and powerless, but in actuality, no, the person is not trapped and the person is not without power. So remember, you are more than your thoughts, and you do have free will. And if you can think of the worst case scenarios, then you can think of the best case scenarios. It doesn't only go one way. So make use of your imagination. Utilize it as a tool. This could be an energy, by the way, that you have already gone through, been in. And then we have the Two of Vessels, the Two of Cups, which can indicate partnership, harmony, reciprocity. And we have the energy of attraction. So this makes me think of someone who is now attracting to them that which they want, that which is in alignment with them. And this illustration is making me think of allowing for things to flow and being connected with one's inner self. So whereas before there might have been blockages, whereas before you might have felt restricted or oppressed, now there aren't any blockages. You are feeling open and receptive. It's easier for you to create. It's easier for you to feel and be inspired. And the Two of Vessels makes me think of inner union, inner harmony, of co-creating. So being in tuned and connected with both your inner masculine and inner feminine. And this is a message that has come through for every group so far, which is that you are entering into an era where you are giving yourself permission to be in, or you are now in, both your masculine and feminine energies. Where with the feminine, you are envisioning, imagining what it is that you want to create. And with the masculine, you're bringing forth these imaginings to life. And with the masculine, it's also making me think of putting an effort, working towards a goal, but working with purpose, working towards a goal. So it's making me think of the expression study smart, not hard, or work smart, not hard. So if in the past you tended to just work for the sake of working, maybe as a form of distraction, now you are working with purpose. There is an intention behind it. There is passion for the work. There is reason for it. It's not aimless. And with the feminine, you are utilizing your imagination, your ingenuity, your creativity to create, to actually create, not just to escape from reality. You're making use of it to bring something to life with the intention of bringing your creations to life. And again, I did mention co-creation, and this is making me think of co-creating with the universe. So it seems like at this point, you're very much in alignment with that which is of your highest good. Like, you know what to focus on, where to direct your focus and attention, your energy, most importantly, to bring that and or attract, manifest that which is of your highest good. So in other words, you are not in opposition with the universe. You are not in opposition with yourself. I did speak of how the Seven of Arrows can indicate deception. And I feel like when you were in this energy, there was a lot of deception going on, deceiving yourself, lying to yourself about what it is that you needed, about what was for you and what wasn't. And now in the Two of Vessels energy, you are in this space of honesty, sincerity, and transparency, where you are being honest about what it is that you need and what is of your highest good. So you're not holding on to anything or latching on to anything that is not for you. You're not making excuses as to why you should remain in situations that are unhealthy for you, that it's quite plain that this is not for you. You're okay with letting things go. And it's interesting how at the start, I gave an example or an imagery of a vase that was full. And then here we have, two vessels, two cups that are endless. The stream of water being poured into them is endless. It's ever flowing. So you are not without and you are not lacking. If you feel like you are, it's possibly because there are blockages. Something is making you believe or feel as if there is not enough, or maybe you are not enough. So the Two of Vessels could be calling for you to reconnect with yourself and possibly maybe reconnect with the divine, with spirit, because it is through this connection that you will be able to tap into infinite potential. Remember who you are is the message that is coming through with the Two of Vessels. And the Two of Vessels could be speaking of a partnership, could be speaking about relationships, a union between you and another. And with the Seven of Arrows, a lot of you could be feeling insecure about a relationship. Maybe there's a lot of doubts of whether or not the feelings are reciprocated, whether or not they're mutual, whether you are worthy of this partner or if this partner is worthy of you, something along those lines. But again, all of these doubts could be a result of you being up in your head too much. Because if you look at the situation for what it is, if you allow yourself to be in the present moment when it comes to this relationship, connect with this person, you will know in your heart of hearts whether this relationship is for you or not. So if you have been spending way too much time up in your head, it's time to come back to the heart. It can go either one of two ways, but it goes down to this. You already know the answer about this connection or relationship. And for a lot of you, it could be that at this moment you're single and maybe you're questioning whether there is someone out there for you. Maybe this Two of Vessels, it's foreshadowing something that is about to happen, right? So maybe in the near future, someone might be coming in who you will feel a strong connection to. And because the connection is so strong and so powerful, it could trigger some insecurities. And so what I was getting at is that the basis of this is the same, regardless of how it manifests, which is that you will know the truth. You will know the answer. You will know what is right and what isn't. Yet it is the truth, it is the answer that might result in you being in this Seven of Arrows energy, because either you know that someone isn't for you, that maybe there is a relationship in your life that you need to let go of, but you don't want to pay attention to what you already know. You don't want to believe it because you don't want to let go of this relationship. You want to hold on to it. Your insecurities might be guiding you to hold on to this, because your insecurities might be saying, well, no, because what if no one else comes along? What if this is actually it? What if I'm wrong? What if I let go of this person and I miss out on a great opportunity? What if? And this insecurity is causing you to hold on to this relationship that you already know deep down is not for you. And it is this resistance to the truth that is keeping you up in your head. Like, no, let me just overthink this. Let me doubt this. Let me think this over and think about it again and again and again and again, and not pay attention to what I already know. Let me doubt. And the more I doubt, the more I prolong needing to let go of this relationship, or this relationship coming to an end. Because that's what is bound to happen. Because the truth is bound to be revealed at some point or another. The second situation will be, you know this connection, this relationship to be true. You know it in your heart of hearts. You've never felt this strongly for anybody else before, let's say. And so it is this truth that scares you, because maybe you feel like you're not ready for this. You're not ready for this kind of relationship, for this kind of love, for this kind of sacred union. And so in order to avoid accepting the truth or seeing the reality of the situation, surrendering to it, you opt to remain in your head about it. Like, no, let's doubt it. The more I doubt it, the less it's real. And then I don't have to accept it. I don't have to take responsibility for it. I don't have to surrender to it. I can resist. And so with the Two of Vessels, this will be a time in which sincerity, honesty will be asked of you. This will be a time in which there will be a need to surrender to the truth, so that there will be liberation, so that you will get back into the flow, so that you will be able to reconnect with your innermost self, and so that then you can allow yourself to align with that which is of your highest good. Because with the Seven of Arrows, there's a lot of resistance. And in the Two of Vessels, there's little to no resistance. This is you accepting your truth. This is you allowing yourself to be in your fullest, without doubt, without hesitation, because you know that what is of you will not pass you by, and what is for you will always be of your highest good. And when you are in alignment with that of your highest good, you are never missing out. Now with the Ancestor, which is the Hierophant, this can speak of institutions, traditions, marriage, but the Hierophant can also speak of ritual, discipline, structure. And how it's coming through is that there will come a point in which you will need to make a decision, in which you will need to choose whether you do follow the calling, is how it's coming through, whether you do choose to be in alignment with that which is of your highest good. Because the Ancestor is simply calling. They are beating on the drum to let you know it's time, to let you know we are here, right? We are here. But it's up to you. It's always up to you whether you choose to adhere to the call, whether you choose to come forth. So there will come a time in which you will need to decide. Maybe decide to open up your heart, to open your heart to someone, to be vulnerable, to let go of expectations of what ifs in order to allow that free flow, to allow yourself authenticity, to be authentic, to be transparent, to be sincere. Whether you choose the truth, to see the truth, to accept it or not. And with insecurity, there's even something here about you needing to make a choice on whether you do accept that which is of your highest good, whether you allow yourself happiness, whether you allow yourself the best, or whether you settle for something less than the best. Will you allow your insecurities to get the best of you, or will you push through and past your insecurities, your doubts, and your hesitations? But let me pull out a card from the Native Spirit Oracle deck. Oh, this card came up for group 2 as well, which is answering the call. Yeah. You will be called. You will be called to make a decision. You will be called to choose. And this won't be the only time you will be called to make a decision. There will be many more calls, but it feels like pretty soon you will get an opportunity to move in a different direction or stay on the path that you currently are on. And the rainbow over here is reminding me of the Fool card in the tarot, which is a card that speaks of a new beginning, but more like a clean slate, a fresh start. Oh, and that could be the reason why the message starting over or start over came through at the beginning, because your ancestors want you to know that there is an opportunity, or there will be an opportunity to start over, start afresh, start anew, do things differently, have a different mindset, a different approach, a different perspective that is more empowering, that is more in alignment with you, that is more conducive to your overall well-being. So I feel your ancestors, they simply want to give you a heads up and about this new start, this fresh start, because they want for you to know and believe that you are worthy of so much more and that you are worthy of the best. You are worthy of your desires, that what you want. It's not too late and you are ready. But I do want to read the guidebook message associated with this card. I do recommend, of course, it is up to you what you choose to do, but I do recommend for you to not skip this part of the reading because I feel that the guidebook messages do offer a lot of insight and they do read as direct messages. So there could very well be a very direct message coming from your spirit guides in the guidebook message. Okay, but let's see. I will be reading from the Native Spirit Oracle Cards Guidebook by Denise Lynn. And we have Answering the Call. Okay, so the messages are on pages 38 and 39, just pointing it out in case the numbers are of significance. Some of you could actually be 38 or 39 years of age, but we have card meaning with you've been called. If you've been waiting for your life to shift, the waiting is over. Your true and authentic life is happening. If you've been hoping for a sign, this is it. Right now, your spirit guides, ancestors, and loved ones who have passed on are sending you messages, love, and healing. You've been called, and a gateway is opening for communications from these spiritual realms. Now and in the days ahead, signs from spirit will be all around you. Watch for them. Your native spirit wants you to know, and you can also read this as your ancestors wants you to know. Indigenous people look to the clouds, the winds, and the movement of animals to discern the secret messages from the Creator. In native traditions, life is ruled by signs. Right now, your spirit helpers are telling you that this is your time. The waiting is over. Sometimes we spend so much time waiting for life to happen that we miss the joy in the moment. Cherish the here and now, and know that no matter what concerns you may have, in the deepest sense, you are ready. Believe. Follow the signs and miracles will abound. Your time is now. The journey. Look for signs. They are all around you. The feather that alights at your feet. The penny that mysteriously appears, or the rainbow splashed across the sky may be a sign that spirit is trying to get your attention. Watch your dreams. Messages from spirit are often conveyed in the nocturnal hours. I laughed because I did talk about trinkets and finding a penny or coins on the floor. And it's interesting how everything aligned. So look for the signs. Your ancestors are communicating and connecting with you. And not only your ancestors, spirit guides, loved ones who are on the other side, spirit animals, if you believe in spirit animals. The universe is communicating with you. They are letting you know that a gateway is opening. That's the feeling I get with answering the call. There is an opportunity to shift timelines, shift your mindset, shift your approach to life. You don't have to be powerless or feel powerless. Let go of that which does not serve you, of that which disempowers you, of that which keeps you feeling stuck. Knowing that the moment that you do, that which is of your highest good will come in. You will attract it. By holding on to that which wants to be let go of, you are blocking your blessings, your true blessings from coming in. And if something feels too good to be true, because it's actually showing signs of it being good, don't deny yourself of that something good. Embrace it instead. You are worthy of it because you are worthy, period. Okay, but now I'm going to move on to the last segment of this reading, where if you have a yes or no question, we will be receiving an answer from your ancestors through the assistance of a pendulum. So we do have two options to choose from. Option number one is being represented by the smoky quartz crystal. Option two is being represented by the turquoise stone. So if you have two yes or no questions, then what you can do is assign a question to each one of these crystals. And if you only have one question in mind, then you can take a moment to think of your question and then meditate on the options that you see here. And the one that you are drawn to the most, then that will be the crystal or stone that will have your answer. So I will give you a moment to think of your question, meditate on the options, assign a question to each crystal or select a crystal. And I will start with the smoky quartz crystal. So what is the answer for those who were drawn to the smoky quartz crystal? So as you can see, the pendulum is swinging back and forth on maybe. So the answer to your question is a maybe, which might signify that at this moment, nothing has been set in stone. There is a possibility for things to turn around if you feel like currently things aren't exactly moving in a direction that you favor. It could also be that it might go either way because there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to this. But now I'm going to receive an answer for the turquoise stone. Okay, and the pendulum is swinging back and forth on yes. So the answer to your question is a yes. And I think if my memory serves me correctly, so far for all of the three groups, the answers have been pretty much the same, which is quite interesting. So it seems like all the groups are connected or there are similarities between them. But yes, these are all the messages we have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought you some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you are new to this channel and you want to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to your ancestors and whoever else came through to assist me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much. And I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye bye.